placing enormous pressure on the Wanderers' defence after an equaliser. Another on the leading. Bretton taking his time. Into injury time, 3 minutes. Franjic, striker, he's scored some spectacular goals in the A-League, especially since being pushed up by Mike Mulvey. A more attacking role.
A variation from the set piece, Luke Bratton. Franjic just hanging off and making a late run.
Flick on by Tom Urich. Well defended North. Urich, body strength. Flick over the top. Under the run of Haliti. So couldn't kick him out. Michael Theo says, I've got the right to take...
He was always going to do that, wasn't he? Also, when you look at this match, you have to think also psychologically, it's still Brisbane massive favourites, still in the Premier's played, but you can think of the finals time as well.
North shatters into Tony Popovic. Jade North helped up to his feet by the Wanderers coach. Under from Ante Kovic.
Saved by Tony Popovic. Brisbane have reacted well after conceding the equaliser. Just thought for a moment the Wanderers who came home stronger, but it's actually Brisbane that have picked up. Mulvey will be very happy with his performance, not in a pure footballing sense. Certainly the defensive structure, they've almost got it perfectly right.
A chance for Bratton from the set piece. Rising well with Polyak. Barisha. He's a man for late drama.
You can see by the reaction here, they're happy with the point. Barisha going straight to the corner flag. They know a point's good enough. I think there'll be time now.
A few seconds beyond the 3 minutes added on. No, says referee Chris Griffiths-Jones, and it ends up 1-1 at Pertex Stadium. Brisbane were eyeing off their first victory against the Wanderers in Parramatta, courtesy of Bessart Barisha's expertly taken goal, but it was Labanov Haliti giving the home side hope with a brilliantly taken effort of his own. That gave rise to all 3 points for the home side, but Brisbane came back. They showed their skill and their quality tonight. Yusuf Hersey was dynamic for Western Sydney, but couldn't break through. Tom Urich came on late. The Wanderers fans will go home perhaps a little bit disappointed. Final score at Pertex Stadium. Western Sydney 1, Brisbane Roar 1. It's now down to Tom Tapper.
Yeah, thank you, Bash. I'm now joined with the man who scored that equaliser late in the match, Labano Haliti. Lab, pretty good time to score your first for the season, mate.
Yeah, look, I've been close a few times this year, but obviously tonight came off and went in, so it's good.
After all that, after 90 minutes, do you think maybe a point's fair enough?
Look, I thought it was a great game tonight. I think both teams had a go at each other. Obviously, they had one all, so we'll just move on.
And after all said and done, I guess the race for the Premier's plate's still on.
Yeah, of course, but we just take one game at a time and then concentrate on next week and, yeah, basically get back on Monday and start working again.
Lebanon, well done. Thank you.
Cheers.
About to be joined by Brisbane captain Matty Smith. Matty, what's the feeling after that one? Disappointment to concede late, perhaps?
Disappointed to concede, but I think on the balance of play, we just couldn't match them tonight. I thought full credit must go to Western Sydney. They certainly come at us and made it very, very difficult for us. We defended very well at times, but I was very disappointed to concede like the way that we did.
was a very physical and fiery match. Did you expect that coming into a top-of-the-table clash?
Yeah, of course. I mean, when two of the best teams in the league go for the points in a very good crowd here on a nice pitch, I've got no dramas with that. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's part of the game.
And a lot of talk before the game that's potentially, if you had to claim 3 points, you pretty much wrapped up the Premier's plate. But I guess it just maintains the status quo. You're still 7 points clear, pleased?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're going to be pleased that we're 7 points clear, but we're not. I'm certainly not happy with the overall performance tonight. I didn't think. I thought that we had to dig deep at times, but I think that we could certainly better in a number of areas.
Matty, thank you. Well done.
Thanks.
Yeah, Matt Smith.
Roma was looking to close the gap on top place Juventus. They thought they had the lead inside half an hour. Maicon's shot was parried by Etrip Berisha, but Gervinho's follow-up was ruled offside.
Gervinho, se vediamo la linea del campo, il piede di Gervinho è leggermente avanti.
Lazio has struggled for consistency this season, but they did threaten on the counter-attack. Uruguayan midfielder Alvaro Gonzalez did well to create space, but he couldn't keep his long-range shot down.
Termina sul fondo, pericolosa la Lazio con Gonzalez.
At the other end, Francesco Totti was showing that age hasn't diminished his goal-scoring ambition.
Pallone che sfiora l'incrocio dei pali e finisce fuori.
In a tight defensive contest, Gervinho squeezed into space and looked to squeeze his shot between keeper and near
In
post.
favore della Roma.
And the last chance also fell to Roma. Bosnian Miralem Pjanic threatened to claim the winner. Berisha relieved to see the shot bristle the side netting.
That stalemate opened the door for Juventus to increase its lead at the top and the chasing pack to close the gap on the race for a Champions League spot.
Following 2 consecutive defeats, Napoli knew nothing less than a win would suffice as they welcomed AC Milan to the São Paulo. But also Neri had not lost a game since the arrival of new coach Clarence Seedorf, and it seemed the rejuvenation would continue under the ex-Milan midfielder when against the run-of-play loan signing Adel Taarabt to put the visitors in front on his debut for the club after just 7 minutes.
Il gol del Milan al 7° minuto con il marocchino.
3 minutes later, Rafa Benitez's men were back on level terms when an impressive strike from Gorkan Inla took a deflection and looped over Christian Abbiati.
Lui il sinistro lo lascia partire e c'è la rete con leggera deviazione.
The hosts continued their assault and Milan were clearly struggling to cope, with Gonzalo Higuain just inches away from putting the home side in front. But it was only a matter of time before the former Real Madrid man did just that, heading home an inviting cross 11 minutes into the second half.
E c'è la rete del Napoli, il gol del vantaggio azzurro all'11° minuto.
The Argentina striker was a constant threat and should have scored again. Instead it was Milan who almost equalised when Pepe Reina remarkably missed his kick and Mario Balotelli amazingly squandered the opportunity to equalise. The Milan striker was immediately substituted, with cameras later showing him crying on the bench. His tearful error made all the more difficult. With 8 minutes remaining, Higuain sealed all 3 points for the hosts as he slotted in Napoli's third from close range. Fiorentina were chasing a much-needed win against visitors Atalanta and got off to a great start with a magnificent free kick in the 15th minute from Josip Ilicic curled straight over the defensive wall to give the hosts a 1-0 lead.
La palla termina in rete per l'1-0.
The visitors pushed forward with Giacomo Bonaventura coming close, not once but twice from close range in the first half. Before Fiorentina's Rafael Wolski made it safe as he finished off a rapid counter-attack late in the game to score his first ever Serie A goal and hand La Viola a 2-0 win in the process. And finally, despite snatching a 2-goal lead in the first half thanks to a Carlos Tevez double, Juventus were forced to share the points against hosts Hellas Verona after clawing their way back to 2-2 in stoppage time. The Bianconeri continued to lead the way by 9 points from second-place Roma, who have a game in hand. Napoli made up some ground with their win in third place, as Fiorentina who continue the chase for an elusive Champions League spot.
To Germany, where Bayern Munich command a healthy lead in the Bundesliga, on the weekend they travelled to Nuremberg looking to maintain their momentum.
Their record stood at 44 matches without defeat, but European champions Bayern Munich didn't have things all their own way over the opening exchanges of the Bavarian derby away to Nuremberg. Japanese international Hiroshi Kiyotake's acrobatic effort just millimetres away. As usual, when you miss those, you get punished. David Alaba's cross met sharply by Mario Mandzukic, who got goal side of his defender, and 1-0 it was after just 18 minutes. Kiyotake had another chance that was too high before a player who doesn't get many scored Bayern's second. Mandzukic unselfishly crossing for Philipp Lahm, who grabbed his first Bundesliga goal since 2010. Bayern 2-0 winners and now undefeated in 29 consecutive league matches away from home. Back in August, Dortmund defeated Werder Bremen 1-0 in a match where they could have had half a dozen. The investment payday delayed dividend here as the side from northern Germany was put to the sword by Jurgen Klopp's men. Robert Lewandowski, without a goal in 5 matches, started the procession in the 26th minute before the dancing feet of Henrik Mkhitaryan doubled the lead just shy of the break. Ball marking from a corner allowed Manuel Friedrich to stab home a third early in the second half before Marco Reus and Mkhitaryan combined for a fourth. Lewandowski then grabbed his second 5 minutes from time. Not even a late strike to 18-year-old debutant Ludovic Obraniak could temper the celebrations as Dortmund swept to a 5-1 win. Heading into matchday 20, 7 points separated Borussia Mönchengladbach from visitors Leverkusen, with the home side knowing just how important maximum points would be as they looked to bridge that gap. And they made a lively start with both Patrick Herrmann and Max Kruse having good early sights of goal.
Good shot. Excellent effort.
Stefan Kiesling and Son Heung-min replied in kind, but the sides went to the break scoreless.
Chance!
17 minutes into the second half, the South Korean international had another chance. This time he didn't waste it.
Son! Oh, what a goal!
Gladbach pushed forward in desperate search of an equaliser, but despite these efforts from Kruse and Juan Arangel, there was to be no further goals as Leverkusen hung on for the vital 1-0 win. That ensured Sami Hyypiä's side would hold on to second spot, but they remain a whopping 13 points adrift of leaders Bayern. No change elsewhere in the top 6 as Dortmund stay third, Schalke fourth.
Time for our final break, and then we'll be back to review the weekend's action in La Liga.